Hi there, my name is Richard, and today I'm going to be reviewing Eye of the World by Robert Jordan, the first book in the very long Wheel of Time series. First, I'm going to start out with the spoiler-free review, and then we're going to jump into the spoiler part a little bit later. This book is very Tolkien-esque, and we follow a group of people from a town called Edmondsfield, and they're just thrust into an impossible situation, and now they have to travel across the country to try and solve it. The people from Edmondsfield quickly meet up with a powerful sorceress and a powerful warrior, and they are kind of their guides while they're traveling across the country. One of the things that's really unique about this book is the magic system. There's a different magic system for men and for women. So women have this magic system that they can use, and men, they have a magic system they can also use, but if they use it, it kind of makes them go crazy. So it's a really interesting dynamic that I haven't seen in another book before. If you like Tolkien, you will like this book. The world building and the prose are very similar to Tolkien. A lot of people see this as an homage, some more critical see it as a ripoff, but I really enjoyed this. It took the things I loved about Tolkien, but also kind of left the stuff that I wasn't a huge fan of when reading his books. If I were to rank this book, I'd say it's like a 3.5 out of 5. It's amazing. I love this book. It's not the best thing I've ever read. I do have some problems with it. Some of the characters just kind of fell flat for me, even though it does focus more on the characters, like I already said. However, the descriptions and the prose just transport you into this world. It's very vivid. And the whole time, I feel like the tension is just cranking. And even when I think you can't just keep the tension going this high for so long, it still just keeps going. And then finally, when you do get a reprieve, it's just like, oh, whew, wow. Now I'm jumping into the spoiler part of the review, so I would stop watching now if you haven't read it. First, I'm going to talk about the parts I did not like. Number one being that the plot was not really surprising to me. Now, the book did come out in 1990, before I was even born. So a lot of the themes and tropes that to me just kind of seemed obvious, and the twists that kind of seemed obvious, might not have been at that time. The main thing that was not surprising at all to me was Padan Fain being a dark friend. As soon as Rand met up with him at that first city after the whole tragedy at Edmondsfield, I was like, okay, yeah, he's a bad guy. Why is he acting all crazy? Rand immediately tells him all this stuff that Lan told him not to tell anyone, and so by the time we figured it out and who it was, I was like, okay, it's confirmed. Okay, yeah, I was right. It's not really a surprise to me. Another thing I found just annoying was the characters not trusting Moiraine. I know in the world, in the context, they're like, oh, Aes Sedai, they tell you like one thing true, but they'll like trick you at the same time, and they're not to be trusted. Okay, the whole time she's trying to save them, and she's done nothing like evil or bad for them. The only thing she's done is kind of withheld information. And, maybe she has a good reason for that. I feel like she probably does. And at least through the story, it just seems like, why don't you trust her? A lot of the problems that occur along the way would have been avoided if they had just trusted her. Now, again, I'm reading this. It's a book, right? I can kind of get the feeling that she's supposed to be trustworthy, but the people in the world don't have that, and it is a story, so I can kind of understand it, but as a reader, it just bothered me. An example of this mistrust leading to problems is Mat taking the dagger. That proved to be a huge problem. He's like, man, I didn't take it out for him, I took it from him, it's my prize. Like, he's so dumb. Yeah, the stupidity of Mat and Rand, it bothered me a lot. Now, speaking of Mat and Rand being dumb, they're dumb a lot. And now I get they're from a small farm town in the middle of nowhere where basically they just grow tobacco, just say tobacco. And they herd sheep. That's what they do. That's all they know. But just, I can accept that they're dumb because of that, but still, their stupidity bothers me so much. Another criticism I have is with the magic system. It just seems to be, oh, suddenly I can do this magic and it's just good enough. It gives us enough of a buffer that we can escape safely. It feels very like, I push this button and we escape by the skin of our teeth kind of thing. Moraine becomes a giant and holds off the white cloaks and they just escape. Moraine puts up a firewall and holds off the Trollocs and they just kind of escape. It just felt very convenient to me, the magic system so far. Hopefully that's fleshed out more, and I'm sure it will be. I'm hoping it will be. I like more hard magic systems. It doesn't have to be totally hard. But anyway, that's my take on the magic system so far. My last criticism of the book is towards the end, they switched their goal from going to Tar Valorn, I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, to the Eye of the World. Now, in the story we're following, it makes total sense. It makes total sense. But there's all this buildup of get to Tar Valorn, get to Tar Valorn, get to Tar Valorn, get to Tar Valorn. We'll make it. When Rand and Mat get to the one city, I forget which one it was right now, and they're like, oh, will we ever make it? Will we ever make it? And then, oh, Moraine found this stuff out, and we gotta go to the Eye of the World now. Now, it makes sense, again, but the way Tar Valorn's built up, and then it's just kind of abandoned, just kind of left a bad taste in my mouth story-wise. Now, we're getting to the parts I like. The first thing I want to talk about is the weave. Now, I hate things that are contrived. I really, really dislike when things seem shoehorned in. And the weave is really clever in this way because it gives an in-world explanation for why things are convenient. I know I complained a bit about that with the magic system already, but the weave, like, the idea of it really, really helped me kind of get past that. And I think it's brilliant writing to have that in here where it just, things that would bother me in other books, they don't bother me here because, oh, it's the weave, right? So I really, really like that. Building off of that, the Ta'veren gives another layer of, you know, these three people are super, super special and super, super convenient and contrived things will happen to them. And there are people who are close to being Ta'veren. Probably saying that wrong again. But, again, it just makes it much more believable and it kind of, all my barriers for when I'm reading are kind of like knocked down. At least in this respect. A great example of something that would normally bother me is Rand's meeting with the princess and then the queen. The encounter between Rand and the princess and the first sword, I forget the exact wording of it, but that was a fun encounter. It was endearing how he's just like, oh, that's who you are, and before that he's just acting all normal and just like Rand. Then Rand's meeting with the queen and that whole interaction, and I loved the queen's reason for why she believes Rand, because the lie is a bad lie if it's a lie because Rand looks mixed race compared to other people from Edmund's Field, and the fact that she's been there before and recognizes his accent. I really liked her logical way of looking at it. Then there's the whole foreshadowing breadcrumbs of what the Queen's Aes Sedai says about Rand, and it's like, holy smokes, so he's gonna be a very, very important person, but the Queen's gonna let him go because, you know, that's the rule of law, and she wants to be seen as a just and good queen. Jumping back to the beginning of the book, I love how Tam, Rand's maybe father, or adoptive father maybe, is like a secret sword master. The whole rest of the book, everyone's like, oh, the Heron sword. Side note, I love herons, so that was cool. Oh, the Heron sword. Heron sword! He's not a real Heron sword wielder, master person. Look at how he holds it, blah, 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 blah. But then Tam, like, at the beginning, he killed, I think it's 4 Trollocs? just what? I want to know more about, but Tam. I want to go back and be like, Tam, what's your story, dude? Also, going back to what I said about the tension in the book, how it keeps building, that whole first encounter, like, I never thought I could be enraptured by someone walking through a forest lugging a cart. But Rand's efforts to try and save Tam was just, the whole time I was like, is it gonna be okay? Is it gonna be okay? Ah! And then just running the back and forth. Oh, it was so good. One of the big themes in this book is fear. I kind of touched on that a little bit with what I've said about the tension continuing to build. But the whole time, at every corner, at every turn, at every town, every city, they're just terrified. Something's gonna come for them. They don't know if there'll be Trollocs waiting for them outside of the town. There could be dark friends, and there usually are dark friends. They can't even trust the crows or the rats. And medieval cities, there's gonna be a lot of rats. One of the scariest parts to me is when Perrin, Egwene, and Elias, oh god, I'm gonna get destroyed for the names. But when they're running from the crows and they at one point imagine what would happen if the crows were to catch them and they were to die by the crows, and they're thinking about, could I kill my friends so that they don't have to live through that torturous type of death, right? It's just terrifying. And then the relief when they, escape it and then into more danger, basically. The part of the book that I think encapsulates the fear the best, though, is when Rand and Mat are solo, and literally every single town they go to, there's a dark friend. There's someone chasing them. There's someone looking at them a little shady. They're, side-eyeing the Heron sword. All this stuff. It's just, like, I was getting stressed. At one point, I actually took a break from reading for like an hour or so on a weekend, because it was just so heavy. It was terrifying to get through. Additionally, we had Mat's slow descent into madness and into his fear and his insecurities and his mistrust, and that just built and built and built on top of all the towns that they're going to, and Rand doesn't really realize it because all the stuff that's happening to them, it kind of makes sense to him that Mat would be less and less trusting as they went on. Then, just real quick, two things I really liked as well that I don't want to talk about a lot are Perrin's friendship with the wolves and that whole development, and his yellow eyes, and he can talk to them and feel their feelings and that whole thing. That's really cool to me. I love that trope. I love that idea. It's done well here. I enjoyed it. And the blight. When they got to the blight and how just like touching a stick could like get your arm lopped off. You could lose a limb. You could lose something will spit poison at you if you step on it too hard, and your eyes will melt. That wasn't in the book, but it's that kind of thing. Right? I really enjoyed the whole blight area. Now, jumping to the characters, I will say Egwene, Moiraine, and Elan didn't really do anything for me. To me, they were just kind of there, especially Egwene. Moiraine was there to, further the plot, and so was Lan. But Egwene just kind of existed. She was there for, Perrin to try and help. There was the whole thing with her and Rand at the beginning, and, I like it. It's cute. She seems like a cool person, but it didn't do much for me. Then we have Rand, our main character, it seems to me. He's, a bit dumb, but very earnest, very hardworking. He seemed just kind of like the everyman, almost like the self-insert character for the reader. I enjoy reading Rand. Like I said before, I don't really like how he's dumb a lot of the time, but I'm interested because I think a lot of these characters are starting this huge 14-book journey, 15 with the prequel, so Maybe they're in that, I don't know. And I'm very excited to see how they grow. Then there's Matt. Matt's annoying. If I met him in real life, I would not like him. He's the guy who's pulling pranks and, you know, messing up people's stuff just because he thinks being funny is annoying. I don't like Matt. He's annoying. Now, I was talking to a friend of mine who has read all the books, and he said that Matt's journey throughout the whole series is one of his favorite character arcs of all time. So, we'll see if that changes. Hopefully it does. Now we get to maybe my favorite character, who is Perrin. No, probably my second favorite character is Perrin. I really like Perrin for the same reasons I don't like Matt. Because instead of being impulsive and annoying, Matt is slow, thoughtful, and pensive. Then when everyone splits up, his main goal is to continue forward and protect Egwene. He's very protective. I like the whole mentality he has with his axe. Again, I already talked about the whole wolf thing, mental link, doohickamabob. I really enjoy it. I want to see more of it. Now we have my favorite character, and I don't know why this is my favorite character, just when this character's viewpoint came on and this character was on the page, I enjoyed this character a lot, which is Nynaeve. Nynaeve is this really overbearing, overbearing's not enough of a word. I need a, like, super overbearing, whatever that word is. That's Nynaeve. And she's very, very condescending. She talks down to people all the time. She's like, I know what's best, you don't. She butts heads with Moiraine the whole trip, or not the whole trip. They soften a little bit towards the end of the book. But there's still that kind of rivalry. But for some reason, I enjoy her. I need to read more books to figure out why I enjoy this annoying person so much. But she's just, I think it's because she's so earnest, she's so honest. Whereas Matt is kind of tricking people. She's just telling it like it is and saying, hey, yes, I know who I am, but this is what's best for you and for me and for Edmondsfield and everyone. Okay, and eventually she changes her mind on some things, but she still has that internal conflict where she learns that the talking to the wind is kind of magic that she hates. She doesn't want anything to do with that, and she has this deep internal conflict over it, and I find it really compelling. Then, real quick, we have Tom. Tom's fun. I like Tom. His backstory with the Queen was really interesting. I really, really hope that the people saying Tom is not dead are correct, because Tom's awesome. I want more Tom. Then we have, towards the end of the book, the Ogier Loyal. I don't know how to say his name or pronounce his race, but I really like their people. That's kind of your typical fantasy, really, really long-lived race who, you mortals, you do everything so fast, blah, blah, blah. But he's really knowledgeable, and he's just so genuine. He's one of the most genuine people in this story. I really enjoy that about him, and I'm excited to read more. Now, there's the ending, and while the ending was epic, it just sneaks up out of nowhere. Like, you're reading the book, and, I'm like, I'm near the end. They're walking with the green dude, the giant tree person, Groot, basically, and here are two Forsaken, and big fight, which was cool. I love a, good ambush. But then there was the fight between Rand and the Dark One, and it's like, I have more power. No, I have more power. Blah, psh. Fight over. I'm simplifying it, but that was kind of it. It was kind of a meh ending fight to me, even though the aftermath of that, the final reveal of Moiraine telling that Rand, like, yes, you are one of the Sadine? I'm gonna need next video, I'm gonna need like a post right here with all the pronunciations. But anyway, even though that was kind of like, yeah, that was kind of expected, it's still like, okay, alright, it got me real excited for the next book. That's pretty much it for this book review for me. Again, this book was a 3.5 out of 5 for me. I really enjoyed it, and I really am looking forward to the next book. I know a lot of people have told me, hey, books 8, 9, and 10, and maybe some other books, they're a bit of a slog, and you're going to wonder why you started reading this, but I've also heard everyone who's finished it has said it's been one of the greatest book series they've ever read. So I am excited, and let me know down in the comments if you've read it, and if not, what are you reading? Thank you. Bye-bye.